Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the RationalInvestor.com's Broiler Chicken Show. What kind of funny sound bite should I start this crazy show off with? I don't know. Anyway, welcome back to the Frivolity. What kind of funny sound?
Hey, there we are. Looks like we're live on
should
YouTube.
I start this crazy? Somebody go poke Dina there. We're live, baby. We're live, baby. Woohoo! Party! We got like 5 people watching the show, but what the hell? I see people popping in and out of that lounge here. Oh, we got a good 20, 30 people here. So, here we are. What the hell is it? It's the 10th of January now, eh? Well into the 2021. Wow, what a remarkable to see that on your calendar. Remember, I was born in 1970, forever ago. So here we are, headlong into the future. Sure hope everybody now appreciates next time a Jupiter and a Saturn happen to cross paths. Are we going to pay attention? This is you can't write better fiction than reality, I'll tell you that much, by crackers. I guess I've actually seen. Hey, I hate when you make these great crazy predictions and crap, and they end up coming true. Where I conjectured almost actually just about exactly 1 year ago. It'd be interesting to go back and look at those January, February video offerings that we had last year. But I kind of figured that by the end of this, probably most people in the marketplace will throw out things like professional money management, asset management, portfolio management, risk management, all that kind of stuff. Fucking just throw it out the window. Government will give you a guaranteed paycheck for the rest of your life. How does that saying of Klaus's go? You will own nothing and you will be happy. What a potion for disaster. I don't like how the people that are in charge of our society, of course they want to stay in charge. At the end of the day, of course, this all comes down to power and all that kind of stuff. And we used to pass around on the site the Money Masters videos. Sharktoshi, I see over there. Maybe if you could fire that video in the lounge again, I'll show it to the public. Really getting to know and understand the history of money. Like really understanding sort of, the actual what happened when. And ironically enough, I think you can actually make the argument about once every 100 years or so, we as a human species have to basically throw out the old money system that we use and bring in a new money system. Whether it be, I can think back, it was just yesterday for me. The 15th century, of course, that was dominated by, I guess the 16th century dominated by the Spanish. 17th century, of course, saw the collapse of the Spanish Empire and the rise of the British Empire and the British banking. And, we affectionately in history class, you call it mercantilism and all that kind of fun stuff. But in essence, a shifting of power away from Spain towards the Western European nations. And I do find it interesting that there was a Jupiter-Saturn cross that was similar to the one that we just had, where they basically threw out, in the period following that Jupiter-Saturn cross in 1623, that ultimately ended with the end of the tally stick system. Thank you, Sharktoshi. Oh, you are so awesome. I love these TRI people. Such a joy waking up and greeting them. Yeah, we all work together to try and help each other out. So good old Sharky here. I love this video series. It's pretty long, 4 hours. Good old Henry VIII there. Very, very good series. Do yourself a favor. I've put this in the YouTube, comments. Kevin, if you're feeling like throwing stuff on that page later on, you could always throw this video link on there again. It's a real, eye-opener, right? This is actually his world, right, was the tally stick world. And that last Jupiter-Saturn cross that was as big as the one that we just had here, I think it was basically the death knell of this, the banking money system, which is interesting, right? We've been in this banking money system since basically tally sticks, which is fascinating, right? Because that's exactly the same thing. The Great British Fire, 1666 or something like that. What a coincidence, eh? 1666. Who's driving this bus? That was sort of the ultimate end of the tally sticks because they burned them all down. That's the end of that dead system. And now, I think you could make the argument that we are collectively burning down the banking system. Because if I understand the way money works today, it's not like Federal Reserves and stuff like that actually have like printing presses and they're hanging up the pieces of paper to dry. Really what the Federal Reserve System in our current system does is it just like incentivizes, it encourages. Oh, they're coming for me here. You can see, as soon as I start talking about the banking system, you can see those guys are coming 100 miles an hour. And I think what ends up happening is these cryptocurrencies actually become excellent collateralizable assets. And so the banking system will move from, following the end of the Second World War, the fight against international communism. Really, the only power in the world at the end of the Second World War that could support the whole thing was the United States. And of course, how do you fund a global financial system? They simply used U.S. debt, U.S. treasuries, and the full faith guarantee of the U.S. government as the only surviving Cold War power, in the West, basically supporting, Marshall Plan, all that, supporting the rebuilding of Western Europe, etc. They used the U.S. debt as the collateral. The only problem, of course, is that back then there were lots of rules about doing things like having balanced budgets, having things like the gold standard, and trying to keep your currency solid. And as we've worked our way through the history of this financial system, keep in mind the bankers need their cut. That's what they affectionately call interest. But in essence, that interest in itself is simply eroding the purchasing power of whatever the underlying asset is. And unfortunately with interest rates and the way money works is that it ultimately ends in a geometric growth, right? 1% of a dollar is $1. Well, 1% of $1 million, that's a hell of a lot more than $1. So it ends up growing exponentially if you live on this percent return kind of life. That's basically what I think's happened, right? The bankers have to get their percentage cut, right? That's what they call their profit margin. And the only way you can do that is to constantly be demanding inflation. That's why you hear all these central bankers and stuff constantly going on about inflation. They never want to say the bugaboo word deflation, which is actually what should happen. And interestingly enough, prior to the Great Depression, the United States dollar was on a very solid footing. So when the economic cycle had to unwind, it wasn't the dollar that was going to be sacrificed. It was all the nonsense, all the inflated equity valuations, all the worthless bonds that just kept getting dumped into the market. Well, those people, they were bad loans to begin with. Those people should have gone bankrupt. Like the Monopoly guy, right? Go to jail. Do not get out of jail. Do not pass go. But we don't live in that world now, which really sucks. And I think the end game here is they're just going to blow up this thing called the US dollar. What does our new world look like? I think it's all about this cryptocurrency space. It is interesting to watch the central bankers now. They've watched how these cryptocurrency kids have created these cryptocurrencies and validated and set up nodes and the code to verify the transactions and the ledgers. And I think they're basically going to go about replicating all of that with these, digital central currencies. But one really interesting side effect of that, of course, is that this whole ability with this debt lending system and this idea of actual physical currency is you couldn't keep track of everything because it's marginal fractional reserve lending. In this digital currency world, keep in mind central bankers can print as much as they want. They have to have everybody on board. So I think, we'll get nice big fat crises and everybody's panicking. Give me money, give me money, give me money, right? And then they say, okay, well, you can have money, but you got to have this digital money that we're issuing now. Watch guys like George. I can't remember what his last name is. Gammon, I think it is. He'll teach you on how the central bankers are going to pull this off. But in essence, what ends up happening now is every single cryptocurrency unit, whatever you want to call the US dollar a cryptocurrency now, maybe, it will be tracked and logged. And the idea of actually skirting the system, that window of opportunity is closing fast. And I think that's actually the next evolutionary step in this space. One thing I would really caution everybody about is how do you generate a 2-year bear market in an asset that technically has a ever rising cost basis? This whole idea of cost of production with Bitcoin. How do you get a period where you actually get the public who's most of them are actually going to lose money because they invested in it. But the asset actually is guaranteed to go up over time. I think the way that you do it is you figure out what the cost of production basis is, and the bear market corrections have to occur just a little bit above that level. In essence, you could argue if you were going to be a farmer, do you really want to come in and start up your farm when all the input costs and everything are all inflated? Probably not. Yeah, the corn, selling it to market is going to be fairly high priced, but like the shovels and the fertilizer and the watering cans and all that, all those prices are going to be bid up too. And that's what I find happens in this crypto space is you get into these big circle jerks. In fact, we had a good example of this guy who was, he's a pretty good guy at putting like silver mines into production. He tried to dabble his feet into the crypto space, and basically he got run out of business there about a year ago mining Ethereum. And it's funny when you listen to these mining guys talk about cryptocurrencies, they're like, do you know the economy's a scale you have to run a business in that? Well, yeah, you gotta have a base cost of production. Duh. I mean, what are you, stupid? If you're coming in and mining Litecoin at $100 a coin, and the price of the asset is half that, well, maybe turn the mining machines off. But if anything, it's almost funny that these classic commodity players, they don't get the crypto story. They don't understand how this game works. It's an extremely volatile asset, no doubt about it. And in a weird sort of way, actually, that's a really good dovetail for today. Because if you can put yourself in a position where you're not, like, how do we say this? Like if I was going to open up a silver mine, right, I would kind of want to have a relatively high price for the price of silver. And of course, a well-built futures market so I can go and hedge 5-10 years production out into the future. Of course, in crypto, that doesn't exist right now, right? So it's funny. I even go to the old prop firm that I used to be with there years ago, and I even mention Bitcoin to them, and they're like, "Are you kidding me? You know how how expensive one contract is? I'm not gonna touch that fucking thing." So, yeah, it's listed, but it's not really like publicly traded asset over there, and I think there's reason behind that as well. But oh well. Anyway, so the point I'm trying to make here is that just as I couldn't open up a business, and I've tried to, trust me, it doesn't work, and take Bitcoin in payment, you just can't run a business model that's sustainable over time with this insane price volatility. So not only does it keep sort of Main Street out of the loop, the insane price volatility of this asset, of course, rewards those people that can basically put themselves on a reload zone plan and just accumulate. And then, of course, when we go through these apeshit price adjustments, we'll call them, you're just spoon feeding the market and paying all your bills for the time that you spent accumulating. But I don't know whether many of the people that listen to me even understand that kind of conversation, which really sucks. But it's brutal reality. Most of the people, I would imagine, it'd be interesting. There's 82 people over there watching this or actually, I guess a few more. How many of you were actually in crypto in 2016, 2015? I mean, that's not that long ago. I would imagine it's probably not that many. And of course, all the classic anecdotes. Lots of people on the TRI lounge. Hey, my Aunt Betty just called me up and said, should I buy some Bitcoins here? So, the writing's on the walls. I did see it was interesting. One of our OGs, Colin, who does a great job over on Hero, I think it is. He's been following Ethereum, some sort of big whale player there over on Ethereum longs or something. And all of a sudden, a huge shift to the downside. Somebody just moved some money out of the space. So there's more anecdote that, hey, be careful here, people. I've often, said that this is the type of market where actually I find it very difficult to do these videos. Because people aren't thinking logically. They're thinking very emotionally. They're thinking moon boyish. There was one gentleman out of Europe that one of our old OGers is working with, and the guy's a beautiful marketing guru. I don't know what you want to call it. He knows how to work the system, and somebody was telling me the other day, this guy's got 12,000 people watching him on YouTube right now. Okay. And they're all gonna FOMO in hard, baby. But that's the way this game of capitalism goes. The public always comes in at the top. Like 90% of the people in this game lose money. So if you know that, something like Bitcoin, if you know that it's a rising asset because it's got basically built-in guaranteed profit margin, then really this game of investing in Bitcoin is stunningly simple, and it's actually incredibly cliche. But don't get sucked into buying it when it's going parabolic straight up. That's just asking for trouble. Um, anyway, the problem with the market, of course, is that, most people, they'll see something like this spreadsheet, right? Or even like this, what was it, ADM? I don't know, what the hell's that, right? I mean, they very rarely ever look at price charts. So, I have a hard time talking to the public because, the very first question I ever have with anybody, actually, this is a pretty good example. This is not a bad way to get into sort of market talk here. I mean, look at that chart. Do we have any business coming in on the buy side on something that looks like that? What's so funny, right? And these are these silly little warrants that we trade. And this damn thing was, look at these warrants. This was like 20 cents, 10 cents. Here it is, $6. Ay, 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 ay. I mean, that's the high octane sort of angle that we do at TRI. I mean, you want to trade this kind of shit. I mean, it happens all the time. You just got to be damn quick and you got to know what you're doing. The stock itself, a little bit more conservative. Notice the bottom here down at about 60, 70 cents. And gee whiz, here we are, $8. Does that look kind of familiar? That ratio? Is that a 10-to-1 move? Well, like I showed you, well, I don't think I showed you, but, it's not an accident that all this stuff is basically going like, 10x. $3,800, $42,000. That sounds to me to be about 10x. So, ironically enough, just pick your poison in this space. Did ETH go 10x? Probably. Where's ETH? Ethan Allen. We're all going long Ethan Allen, right? No. So 80. Ooh, that's not bad. Jeez, that's almost 20x. So, what's so funny, right? Remember I was telling you that story a moment ago about those stupid guys. These idiots. I can't believe these people. I mean, this is almost like there was one guy that I used to teach back, not really teach. That was probably where I failed. And he completely used one of the tools that I built completely wrong, and he blew himself up. But I would actually argue that these mining guys trying to get into the cryptocurrency industry, and I mean, my question for them is, what the fuck did you do with all the goddamn Ethereum that you mined? Where is it? But these idiots, I mean, this stock was perfect. Yeah, we're going into the Ethereum mining business. They rolled the stock back. I mean, we got doubles off, so there's no risk here. And then they're like, fuck it, we're getting out of this cryptocurrency nonsense and we're going to go back into the gold business. Idiots. So that's definition of a missed opportunity. There were other little crypto stocks. Look at that. Damn, that's like 10 cents up to $2 here. I'm on the sell side here. So, pick your poison. I mean, what do you want to trade? Hey, how about crypto bank stocks? Look at this crazy ass one. Son of a bitch. I was squawking about this thing right here. So again, there's another 10x. I was actually long from like $7, $8 in here. So there's another 10x. So the whole space just went 10x. Wonderful. And I this one I fumbled, but you're never gonna get everything right in life. This one I kicked ass. This one fumble. The good part about it, didn't lose any money. This one kicked ass. Julian kicked ass on this. He loaded up back in I think it was back in here. He had just a shitload of this stuff. So he's done really, really well. Congratulations, Julian. I've been and Sjord. So I've been primarily involved in the stock market, and this is what the clean chart looks like. I suppose the pretty marketing piece probably looks something like. I can't believe my browser crashed, so now I've lost all my levels again. I have to go find the damn chart, something like that. So, actually that's that other one. Sorry. Here we are. So this is kind of the way that I approach the market. I try to come in, let the market rally, get some doubles off, let the market pull back, take that original capital, go reinvest it. And so now I got like multiple cars going, and as this market keeps going up, just keep spoon feeding the market more and more and more. I didn't trade Bitcoin and the cryptocurrencies specifically through this. I traded it more through the stocks. It's fine, pick your poison. I just hope that you did participate and you got paid and you're paying yourself for your hard work here. Because that's what this is all about. This is hard work. Especially, how many of you here even remember when Da Vinci and I, we did a video, and I even remember it, that Tone Vase guy, he was like super, hyperwave, where you have to go back to $1,000, blah, 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 blah. I think I must have shown you this chart 100 times before, so it shouldn't be anything new. Let's try and throw yourself on an accumulation plan here. Like I said, Sjord, I was super proud of Sjord. He stepped up, and I think he bought about 5 or 6 Bitcoin for TRI through this. Nice dollar cost averaging. But hell, W's and all that kind of crap, And I think I said the exact same thing in last week's video, so I'm sorry if it sounds like a broken record, but that's what you have to learn. Right? And then Kevin coming in here just like a monster and hitting that level there. Whole bunch of TRIers. This is, look at this. Jesus H. Christ. The high of this candle is $42,000. The low of this candle now is like $38,000. That's $4,000. So this is how dangerous. This is why we always say, for God's sakes, don't chase, don't chase, don't chase. Do you realize that just the wick alone of this candle, look at this entire range of this 1 week. But just this wick alone, and I don't even know if we're going to finish here. Who knows where the hell this damn thing's going to finish. Just this wick alone is bigger than the entire bottom. That's ridiculous. Isn't that, so, when are you going to participate? You really want to come in and try and take a shot buying your Bitcoins here? And, there was a guy on social media there. I don't know the guy from Adam, but he was super popular last crypto cycle. I think he cleared something like $200 or $300 million out of the crypto space. You think he gave any of it back to any needy people through all this time? I doubt it, but that's here nor there. And he was even telling some of his people on his social media channel, you better be careful up here. This is getting pretty insane. Frankly speaking, I think he's onto something there. It's painful for me to have to keep coming back here and, week after week after week going saying I can't buy. I could sell, spoon feed more coins into the market. Awesome. But I can't buy that. And unfortunately, as I was saying earlier, we know that the cost of production, this is what I don't understand is, wouldn't it seem logical to try and get your hand on some, where's that chart? Yeah, some of these S17 and S19 miners and just get them up and running right now? Doesn't that seem logical? I don't know. Am I crazy? Maybe I'm crazy. Crazy Yep, I'm crazy. Okay. Oh, we already knew that. So remember we were saying this the exact opposite. Ironically enough, the time to buy something like Litecoin, where's that chart? Litecoin. I'm not even quite sure what direction I'm talking to you guys about today. Remember there was a time when Litecoin was actually trading below its cost of production. So, all through here, this was the time when this was an absolute gift. I don't know whether that's 10x off its bottom. Let's see, low. No, actually, Charlie's still kind of underperforming, eh? So the low is $25, and we had a high here of 186. I think he said he was expecting us going to be at new highs by next October. Who knows? Only time will tell. If I did want to buy, let's say I was either this guy here or even maybe this person here. Mind you, they haven't gotten a fill yet. Interesting how you can see the reload zone on Charlie is basically the original double bottom. And that actually makes a lot of sense to me because I think that's basically the same thing we're going to see out of the corn and Ethereum. What happens? Now, I find this interesting. We've got a chaos level off of this W right against those highs. Notice that's a candle body high. You've heard Brian talk about candle bodies for trade location before. And that's the all-time high. So we're coming into an area where I wouldn't be surprised. There's going to be a pretty interesting fight going on here. Trade, it's probably still too early. And of course, you got that ETH event coming up in early February. And actually, I do like the idea that, maybe we, do something like this, wherever the hell. Actually, that would make sense. Well, maybe something more like that. There's February. So in through that ETH CME event, you look down at your indicators. They're all going into divergence. Actually, maybe like more like that. And you're like, uh-oh. That's when I'd be like, okay, what? Trade's starting to look a little bit more attractive. Big green dildos. Not really much you can do with that. What probably should happen here, which sort of dictates how this plays out, is now, wherever the hell this top is, and, just like the corn, we might be blasting up through the top here. Don't get into the habit of predicting what the hell's going to happen here. Just go with the flow. I would say, yeah. Actually, I do like this. So probably your buying window is down here, Mountain Man tags. Look at all these tails, right? That's where the last, we always say, when this thing tops out, we go, look left, right? Keep in mind, this is a weekly price chart. So look left. When this thing does eventually top out, whenever, wherever, right? We're going to be going, look left, and we're going to go, that's where the last low was. That's where the last low is. And we're going to go, that's going to be a Wyckoff check, and that's a big honking Wyckoff check, and look at all these key lows. Look left, right? So you can kind of see the future already. It's just a question of, when. It's not today, and it's not tomorrow. Ironically enough, and after a while, people just sort of get sick and tired and they start tuning out, and that doesn't surprise me. Like I said, actually in January of last year, I figured that by the end of this year, you guys would be completely have no interest in anything that I had to say here whatsoever. So just the fact that there's 100 people sitting over there on YouTube. Hey, I'm wrong. What happened? So here's kind of an interesting first and foremost, is this kind of price movement normal, natural, healthy? Come on. All right. So are there any historical comparisons? And maybe we could go, well, it's kind of interesting. Maybe we're going to follow this kind of path. I made the argument. For some reason, it just doesn't seem to get any traction at all, though. So must mean I'm right. No. If we look at something like gold, I believe Colonel Mustard did it in the drawing room with the candlestick. I believe that your cryptocurrencies are this generation's exactly the same financial tool, if you will, as when the baby boomers came online and they were introduced to these things called commodities. And more importantly, futures contracts on commodities. Interestingly enough, back in like the 60s and stuff like that, commodities markets and all this stuff was very, very regulated in the United States, which is so ironic. Because, of course, it took about 50, 60 years, but they've completely unwound all of the supports that they put in place following the Great Depression, not to let it happen again. So, take like 70, 80 years, the bankers, fucking assholes, worked their ways right back into the stock market. After the Great Depression, they actually passed laws in Canada saying that the banks could not be principals in the stock market. They actually passed legislation saying, get the fuck out. And no offense, but in society's best interest, to have the bankers excluded from the speculative part of the market, the stock market and the bond, trading atmosphere? I think so. And unfortunately, banksters, kind of like Jekyll Island kind of nonsense, they've got all the time in the world. And they've got all the money in the world to keep lobbying the democratically elected politicians and just keep hammering away. And in the late 90s, early 2000s, Canadian regulators acquiesced and let the banks back into the financial system. Tisk, tisk, moral shame, horrible. What a fantastic analogy of how democracies, the current system of politically bought politicians under this democratic system, it doesn't work. Maybe cryptocurrencies are our way out. I mean, I would argue that, forcing everybody on the blockchain and, requiring people to vote rather than saying, well, if you want to vote, you can. Actually saying, look, if you're a citizen of this country, one of the requirements is you have to vote. I would actually really like that. I think that would be very good. And then, maybe we can actually get rid of the money out of the political system. That would be nice. Anyway, conversations for generations down the road. What I think is going on here is very similar to this image that you see on this screen. This is the whole thesis of my approach to the market and to investing, that whether it be Jupiter-Saturn crosses, whether that be... And actually I found it really interesting that the Jupiter-Saturn cross, once, especially these fear ones, once every 40 years, aligns really nicely with the generational cycle. And then what I found really fascinating was somebody shared this video with us on the site the other day, how this person here says, well, it turns out that a lot of this sort of once every 100 years, there has to be this great culling of the population, pandemic, whatever you want to call it. That, in essence, resets the whole thing, and we start the whole game all over again. So, in a weird sort of way, it is all just is one big self-fulfilling prophecy. It's fascinating. Do yourself a favor and watch this guy's video. I watched, I think, about the first 5-10 minutes of it. Well, I liked what I saw in that if you actually connect the dots, what's going to happen here through the probably the latter part of the 20s is exactly the same thing as that analogy of the roaring 20s from the 20th century. But the question is, why the fuck did the roaring 20s happen at all? What was so roaring about them? Well, it was nothing more than just a huge sigh of relief from the human species following the Spanish flu. Which, I got a funny feeling that's exactly the same shit that's going to happen here with this pandemic. So, call it Jupiter-Saturn cross, call it fear-greed cycle, call it generational influences. What I see here is actually pretty damn cliche. It's quite remarkable, really. And, here's this is like, I think this is like a 90-year cycle or some crazy number like that. Waxing and waning. Remember, actually, the one good part about the planets, of course, is it's kind of like a clock, right? Is it before noon or is it afternoon, right? What's your day going to look like? Well, I would argue that these planetary relationships are nothing more than just massive clocks sort of just spinning around, keeping time. And this is a really cool clock in that it has two particular seasons, a growth season and a regression season. And oh, by the way, we're heading into a growth season. That should be good news to all of you. I mean, I spent my first 20 years not really knowing what the hell was up or down. Right? It's typical as a kid. But the second half of those first 20 years and the second decade in my 30s, I spent that entire time within a growth environment. I could tell you without a shadow of a doubt, everyone, what you see going on in the world, half of this is just purely attitude. So what I see, a lot of skepticism, a lot of negativity, a lot of, and especially you saw the political situation recently. It makes you shake your head. That's actually exactly what's supposed to happen. The old adage, right? It's always darkest before the dawn. And, people are always most pessimistic at the bottom. They're most optimistic at the top. The problem here, folks, is you have to, as an investor, you have to be able to step outside the box and see the picture for what it is. I don't know whether a lot of you can do that. All the people that are all wrapped up in the circle jerk Bitcoin story right now, you are not looking at this from outside the box. You are in the box. You are part of the box. You are the box. So, I don't know. I might just be barking at thin air here. I think a lot of people on our site get this concept. They get this notion. How it ties in with the Bitcoin story, that's a tough one. It's not a bad while we're sort of going down this vein to sort of take a look at what reality is. When you have markets that are going parabolic straight up, and let's call a spade, what Bitcoin's doing right now is parabolic straight up, 10x off the bottom, blah, blah, blah. Actually, I'm surprised. I wonder, did this go 10x off the bottom? Oh, look at that. 960, 950. You see that there, right? And look at the high. Oh, 840. Oh, they couldn't quite get it. Oh, 870. 873. I guess that was. Be interesting if the deferred contracts did print that 10x for them. I definitely think if we were going to make a crypto correlation, we are totally like right here. Absolutely, without a shadow of a doubt. In fact, I'd probably say like right over here. Not over here yet. We're right. In fact, even we should probably just say, we are right here. No doubt about it. Where exactly the top is, that 10x reference. Keep that in mind, folks. I don't think it's in anybody's best interest to try and call this top. Just if you were a gold investor and you forced yourself, when nobody's interested in gold, coming in here and buying at 100, then at like 150, and then maybe you bought some more. Okay, so you're loaded up here. And, maybe your average cost after, maybe you did a bunch of purchases, but your average cost is somewhere in there. Maybe, what's that number? 163. I'll just say hypothetically. So 300 and change, bang, out goes half. 600 and change, I guess 650, bang, out goes another. Right? So you're paying yourself as the market's moving higher. That's, that HUD kind of stuff. I mean, this is... Remember, everybody, please understand, I'm in this for the long haul. I'm not in this for just the next 2 weeks, 2 months, and I'll go find something else to do when people lose interest. I'm in this for the long haul. This is my life. So I can't, if this is my life, I can't come in and be thinking about buying here. I got to do, buy W's. Visit that website, all that kind of crap. And then, unfortunately, we get into this phase right here, and you got to have the patience and discipline to force yourself not to buy and just to cool your jets. I sure hope you're paying yourself. I was going to show you that HUD image again. So proud of my HUD trade. I mean, it's not easy making money in the market, people. So, I can't even find the damn chart. When you do, I mean, I didn't do it on this. I left investing in the corn and Ethereum to partners. We'll see how they do. I'm going to just leave it at that. We will see how they do. My hunch is if they were investing, then really, I actually wouldn't even suggest you do anything. Because if this is a built-in inflation, then what that means is this is even a low price. 5-10 years down the road, this thing's got to be multiples higher. But, same logic as this. If I wanted to buy Bitcoin now, okay, well, I'll draw my reload zones. Ironically enough, it'll probably go right off the bottom anyway. And yeah, that makes sense. Because right now, the cost of production is about 5 Gs. I think it was about 2,500 or so, like for the base cost of production. All those idiots that came in didn't know what they're doing. They all got flushed out of the market, like that Robert Eady guy. What a joke. And probably the same thing with a lot of high-priced Litecoin miners and stuff like that. Even the low-priced miners, they probably a lot of them got flushed out too. Okay, back to the story. So 2,500. Then next halvening, which where was that? I think that was right in here. So we're now up to 5,000. So that's that's basically 88.6 now. I suppose probably something like that. Wherever the next bottom is. I mean, I don't know if we have to follow along a cadence like this. I'm kind of just, this is messy. I'm not quite sure what the hell I'm thinking here. But who can just tell me, Shark Toshi, you probably have this handy. What's the date of the next halvening? Nobody? How about over on YouTube? I think, did we turn off the chat? Maybe I might have not even bothered to turn on the chat there over on YouTube today. I don't know. That's a good question. Oh, man. There you are. You guys are chatting away. There you are. Step outside the box. Yeah. Listen to Sassy. Okay. So, Francisco says May 2024. All right. So, let's see what we got here. 2000. Ooh, wow. Way over here. Oh, fuck, man. This stuff's so cliche. It's ridiculous. Okay. So, May 2024. That'll be right about there. And we know that number will be, what, 10 Gs? So that's going to be somewhere in about here. We'll go like that. So you got that reference, and what the hell, something like that. So I wouldn't be surprised. Probably, we could even do something crazy like this. Check this out. And this, of course, just chart art. Not making any predictions. We could go boop. Say boop. And whatever the hell this next tile looks like, it's probably going to look like this. Maybe something like that. Where was that happening? That happening was right there, right? So that was all that right in there. So that would be something like... Yeah, that works. Something like that. I do like the idea, and what I've noticed is that there's going to be this period where they're just going to freak the kids out. A good rule of thumb is usually the corn likes to correct a good, I don't know, what does that say? February 2024? Is it May 2024 or February? Where are we? So, what was I saying there? Yeah. So 2,500. Notice that would sort of be that same sort of thing. 5,000 is the cost of production right now. Then they ramp it up, bring it back down. Oh, the kids are freaking out. We know that the new cost of production is going to be twice this 5,000 number. So it will be 10,000. Notice how they jumped it back up here. So I like the idea. Actually, yeah, I like that. It works well for me. Something like that. And I noticed my little squiggly was there to there, right? Or something like that. So who knows what the hell the top right here looks like. I just don't know. One thing I did find interesting, and I still like this thinking, is it's probably something along those lines. I know some people recently were like, well, Brian, maybe you should change that to a log scale. You might get a little more accurate number. And some interesting things jump out when you do that. So first off, this move right here to here, this Faugenbaum level, notice how that'll jump us up to about 50 grand or so. Boom. There it is, 48,530 or so. I don't know whether I did that right. I do like that as a next sort of big objective here. Seems logical to me. Kind of like how Ethereum wants to get up into that old high. It's foggy level. So, there we are up there now. Lots and lots of volatility. That Faugenbaum level, still a bit higher. I kind of like the idea that, actually kind of like this thinking, where we do that, and then the next face rip would take us up into that 50, which would sort of be like along that. If we went do, boom, to boom. Whoops. Come on, you. Are you going to work? There we go. So I was thinking something like that. But you can see she's not really that interested in my thesis here. I guess it would have to be something like that. I think I drew that like a week or two ago, and I thought, well, that would work for me. If anything, this is a great example where you should, just listen to the market. What's on the market's mind? So you can see as we ran into that level, there were a lot of people that did some position squaring. Again, is this the kind of place where we want to come in on the buy side here in this kind of mess? Oh boy. I mean, how many crypto kids kind of got chopped up? They're that high, hitting that trend line, and then the subsequent low down there. I mean, gee whiz. That's like how many of our little just even current risk windows? That's 1, 2. So that's 2 full bottoms. Just in that trading range from the trend line tag back down to the subsequent week's low. And then, vroom. That's why it's so dangerous. That's why it's so, that's why it's so important to try and trade W's. Because this is a mess. I mean, anywhere in here, this kind of shit can happen. And, that's what actually destroys a lot of new people to trading. Is that you take a risk anywhere in here, and you could easily risk multiples of what the actual sort of low anxiety trade level is. I mean, just apples and oranges. Okay, so back to the funny little rhetoric, edutainment. So somebody had said the other day, well, Brian, what happens if you change this to a log chart? And you draw your funny lines off the highs. Wherever the hell that is. Where is that line? Oh, it's way over there. Something like that. Wow, now 50,000 doesn't seem that far away, does it? So, there is this still looming out there. I actually would like, and it would seem logical to me, like I still think we're in this kind of environment. Call me crazy, I don't know, everybody does. I suppose you could argue like this W bottoming pattern sure looks a hell of a lot like this. So I would love nothing more than to have good old reload zones traded back down to. I mean, that's the crazy part about this. From like a log scale, and you can kind of see the channel. I'll just eyeball this. Probably won't look very professional. Something along those lines. Right? Yeah, you can see it. So it's somewhere along there. Right? You see that channel? So, if you do use the log chart to sort of help you time, kind of looks like, somewhere up in there's your channel peak. But more importantly for a guy like me, if I want to come in on the buy side, I got to force myself to wait for that channel bottom to be traded to. Kind of like what happened right there. This is such a good example because did this pull back here? Oh, I don't want to do that. Did this pull back here? Did I just screw everything up? Oh, I did. Darn. Hey, way to go, Brian. How did I mess that up? See if I can do this. It's all right. Technical difficulties. There. Okay. So, let's try that again. Delete all this. Again, think cost of production, right? What's the value of Bitcoin? What's the value of these commodities? Are you walking into a trap? I mean, seriously, people. What was really interesting about this event last spring, who can tell me? Did this dump in Bitcoin have anything to do with Bitcoin? This is super important. If you can somehow connect the dots here, it's the difference between night and day. Did this have anything to do with Bitcoin? No, nothing. Nothing at all. And that's the key here, right? Especially through all this. I mean, fuck. It was all like, Maxine Waters shitting on the space. So if you start to hear the politicians, the Congress and all that kind of stuff, just be careful. It's not healthy. But what was interesting was through here, this dump here, this wasn't about Bitcoin. Nobody was talking about Bitcoin at all here. Not at all. I do find it fascinating. I was very surprised that when I actually put upside objectives, conjecturing that we might come back and trade up to these levels through this, wow, did I ever meet a massive amount of negative reaction from things like social media. So, if anything, this image is probably a great analogy that, you can see the top from 2017. Look, you can even see this top here, right? I mean, look at the M. If I change this to a line chart. So you want to keep this really simple. Hello. I mean, it looks like an M to me. And you can even see M's, right? Kind of stuff. Probably back here. Yeah, you can see the M's. So, on balance, I suppose there was a little head fake. In fact, this is the kind of environment that I think we're in. Is that we're probably going to get these pullbacks, these sharp corrections that last maybe 6-8 months kind of idea. I like the idea of, them ripping some hearts out here. Sucks, but I do like that. I think you're going to have to be quick on this, though. Because remember, I don't know whether you guys remember this. Were any of you in the space through this? If we go back to regular, I remember this event in particular. And this is why I kind of think, I thought November was the same. Where the hell was that? I think maybe it was like this. Yeah, it was right here. Where you got these very quick, violent pullbacks. Like, you don't really see it on this chart, but this was a 61.8 pullback. Yeah, you can see, look how big it went up, and then it slammed down into 61.8. That was like a perfect mountain man level. And that's the kind of scenario I would like to see right here. That. So you can see where the base is. You can see the big run up. This happened to be a U.S. Marshall Office auction. In this particular case, it was a quick up, snap back, and then consolidate, and continue. Notice here, too, right? This is what I'd like to see right now. Either, so, Mr. Market, I don't care what, whoops, now what have I done? Oh, God, it doesn't undo the damn drawing. Sorry. I like the idea that it's not like this is a bear. And, the irony of it all is with the built-in cost of production, all that kind of fun stuff. If you can just get a quick, violent pullback right down into Wyckoff checks. Remember, why did the market dump here? It didn't have anything to do with Bitcoin. So I don't know what the hell's going to happen. Are you telling me you can... hey, there you go. So David's already thrown out. Maybe it's going to be Tether. Who knows? I mean, don't get into the business of predicting like this is going to happen because of that. I mean, fucking nobody's got a crystal ball. But I hope you all, if you're thinking about buying Bitcoin, thinking about investing in Bitcoin, for God's sakes, get your bids working right there at 16,500. Just have it working. And you might just be given a gift. Zing, zing. I've seen that happen. Trust me. Actually, that's basically what this is. Zing, zing. That was 88.6. I mean, you'd all love me if we went back down there. Or hate me. One of the two. I don't know which. But that's the kind of environment that I'm thinking. That if they can pull it back very sharply, very hard, back down against reload zones, then I'll go and buy. I mean, it's kind of funny. I went and bought like put options as we work our way higher here. And yeah, I was in there bidding for another one today. June options. So I like the idea, and I don't know where the hell this thing tops out. The good part about options, right, is if the market jumps up, okay, well, you can always buy a higher strike price. So I think I got, actually, these are 16,000s, which actually makes perfect sense. We got to dip back against 16 into that Mountain Man level, and I'm laughing. But I don't think that's how this is going to go. What I think is going to happen here, for whatever it's worth, and it's not worth much, but what I think happens here is actually very similar to this. This initial pullback low here was a 38.2 off of this range. And I've talked to you guys about this before, right? Richard Hart comes on social media. You broke my Bitcoin, all that kind of stuff. See, right there, doink. Big M. See you later. But I don't, I like the idea of 38.2. I would prefer, like, I don't think, and if we throw 38.2 on here, there, I don't think we're going to breach this anytime soon, though. Kind of like what I said with this over here. I think that if you're going to get sharp pullbacks, they're going to be just smashes into support, and then it turns around and it starts grinding back higher. Why? Because we are so hip deep in socialism now. I mean, get used to it. The next 2 years, we're going to hear nothing but social programs to get the economy going again. Whether it be, medical funding for COVID, and what the hell? I mean, this should be good, right? Whether it be medical funding for COVID, whether it be relief for hospital workers, whether it be PPE equipment, whether it be vaccines, whether it be income stabilization programs, whether it be bail out Main Street to keep them alive, whatever. The printing presses are on full tilt here. And interestingly enough, for the economists of all of us, probably the best chart you should watch right now is not any of these cryptocurrencies versus US dollar outright. if you really want to understand the value of this, but this gets into egghead shit. And every time you get into egghead shit, after a while, people go, well, but fuck it, man. The price keeps going up, man. I don't care that, the purchasing power of my money in my pocket's worthless and is collapsing. The price of this thing keeps going up, so I got to buy it. And that's probably exactly how the soundbite goes. But, here's a good example. I did this study recently of the effects of destroying your currency base. So this is the baby boomer generation. It's interesting. I was listening to a gentleman, Michael J. Jenkins, I think his name is, something like that. Anyway, he had some really interesting cycles that he was working with. 230 bars here. 230 bars makes up one demographic trend, and then put a full demographic trend, and it's actually 1, 2, 3, 4 cycles. It's actually quite remarkable how well this kind of thinking works. So each of these, this is a fear cycle. Yeah, I know. Again, up the butt, eh? I mean, I got just... what does Brian like to do for fun? He sits and watches rabbit hole. Anyway, back to our story. Point here is, you've heard Brian talk about fear-greed cycles. I definitely think we're at a cycle pivot. The problem here, of course, is if you look at this in a Fugazi world, how the hell do you see the cycles? It's actually extremely difficult. If you put your economist hat on and you try and figure out what it was that quantitative easing was all about, then what you understand is all they did was they quote-unquote monetized all these bad debts when they shouldn't have. What they should have done is they should have forced the issuer of the bad debts into bankruptcy. Then in bankruptcy court, the creditors get whatever's left over, the whole thing hits the reset button, and we start from scratch. In essence, you could argue that's exactly what happened through the Great Depression. Democratically elected politicians, they can't let that Great Depression kind of scenario happen. That's what's supposed to happen, but they can't let it happen, or else they lose their jobs and their careers, and maybe even their political party loses influence for like decades. So they just can't take that risk. That's the irony of it all, right? Is that both the left wing and the right wing are trapped in this world. They can't do anything about it. They're stuck. So they just have to keep playing the stupid game. Kick the can down the road. Kick the can down the road. And we live in this world where, democratically elected politicians, they can't seem to control their spending. So that's left to the bankers to decide our fate. Thanks. Way to go. So what the bankers do is they just keep printing more money, keep monetizing this debt, and the purchasing power of your currency in your pocket just keeps falling. In probably 99% of the cases in this world, this always ends in disaster. Basically Germany, 1920s, wheelbarrow money. Venezuela, 1990s, 2000s. Hell, Russia, 1991, when they defaulted on their debt and fucking gangsters running around running the country. The only reason why the United States of America could get away with this was because they were the winners of the Cold War. It's their currency that is the backstop. And so everybody is basically being forced to take a big standard of living cut just to make sure that these bonds don't go default and we don't go the road of Russia. So if somebody talks to you in the public about, wow, rip-roaring stock market and look how rich everybody's getting, it's an illusion. The chart on the left is the asset priced in non-manipulated currency units. And yeah, you're right. It's rising. The chart on the right is the manipulated currency unit pricing. And try to understand the stock market itself is actually nothing more than a reflection of the economy, right? The stock market itself technically is the ultimate leading indicator of all economies. So, interestingly enough, from this perspective, if we look at the real stock market, and if anything, this is a perfect analogy of the world that we live in. We are being lied to on a daily basis. Be it really, in the internet world, in the information age world, it's fascinating to watch how we're actually becoming incredibly censored. Even though theoretically this should be more free speech, it should be more empowerment for the people. I'm very disappointed the way this whole internet story is played out, to be honest with you. But fantastic analogy that the capitalists, like guys like Tesla, theoretically up in the atmosphere, there's more electricity than we as humans would ever need. It's just sitting there. And Tesla built sort of ways to try and capture that. What did the capitalists do? First off, a guy believed in Tesla. A guy's name was George Westinghouse. And the bankers, they got totally screwed over. And they literally made it their life's ambition to put both Westinghouse out of business and to bury Tesla's technology ASAP. Which is, again, pretty sad. I suppose the only recourse for us is to just simply go and make so much money that you can somehow outstrip the Fugazi people. So how the hell do you do that? Well, I can absolutely tell you, it's not coming in and buying Bitcoins here expecting to make huge capital gains. You're not going to outperform doing that. You have to have the patience and discipline to actually be a Kavark and come in where the fucking rock star traders were buying. This right here is how you offset the power of the 1% in your life. You come in and you step into the breach here when, of course, nobody else would. You tell me. I mean, it's kind of funny on the site. I think I said earlier, we got so many people are saying, oh, fucking Aunt Betty called me up, wants to buy Bitcoins. What do I do? I mean, how do you define a trap? Well, that's definitely one part of it. That's for sure. I can understand. I mean, this is a weekly chart, right? So basically over the past 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39. Basically, let's call it the past 39 weeks. If you didn't step in here, and really there's the bottom right there, you just had to watch, and I'm super pleased TRIers, right? They're like, well, and it's so cool watching this happen, right? Oh, I got a double off, fucking A, Brian, I love you. And then the next double level, oh my God, Brian, this is fucking crazy. Can you believe Bitcoin's present at all-time highs? This is insane. Then another double off, I suppose that's up in this area. Oh my God, Brian, I'm naming my first fucking born kid after you. So that's really what you should be doing in here. But I can't keep saying the same damn thing over and over and over again. You're probably getting sick of that. So let's maybe go talk about something maybe you could buy. I guess kind of like what you see here. Can you find any ideas that are maybe looking like this down here? And that actually have some sort of like fundamental value. I thought it was really interesting. Oh, they just kicked the shit out of that Dash the other day. And then I pulled the chart up today and I was like, Huh, you don't see that every day. Look at that motherfucker. That's so funny. I don't know whether you would have been stopped out here or not, but if you had just said, hey, Brian, you and your crazy bottom end of the ranges, maybe I took that trade, sold half on a double, got myself free position, whatever. But maybe you just are like, oh, you know what? I'm going to come down and nibble again here. Look at this. I mean, I thought Dash was dead. I thought this was over. I thought this was garbage. What's going on here? Ironically enough, forcing yourself to come in at the bottom end of ranges. Those are the guys that make the big bucks in this world. This stake, actually, I did this on this one. I had my bid in here. I might have even gotten sell half on a double order off here today. I know I had the order working, but I don't know whether I had it in time. Let's see, what's that high there? No, what does that say? 1738. Let me see something for just a moment, if you don't mind indulging me. Where are we here? I got one of these things as a cryptocurrency trading thingy-me-jobby. What does that say? My trades. Open orders. Price. Oh, my price is 17.5. And the high there is 1733. That's hilarious. Polo is so fucking corrupt. It's ridiculous. I mean, fucking Goldman Sachs guys own this place. What do you expect? I wouldn't be surprised if they don't want to give me a fill there. But point here is I was a bit lazy on this. Had I had my order at my double level, I should have been given fill. When I saw the market jump up there, I was like, all right, well, I guess I better go log into this Polo account. I haven't been into this account in a while. And I saw, and I don't know whether these are open orders because I'm surprised that actually didn't work as an open order, but maybe they kill these orders after a while. I'm not quite sure. Anyway, looks like the order's in there now, and it wouldn't surprise me too that they see my sell order and there's no fucking way they want to give me a fill. That would not surprise me at all. But anyway, I'll be more than happy to report banging out doubles there if they give me that. And if anything, I was kind of mentioning that recently that sure do like the DeFi names. I mean, what happened to all these fucking DeFi people from this summer? Remember Farmer Dave? Farmer Dave we were all going to get rich just riding Farmer Dave's coattails. What the fuck? I'm just kidding. Farmer Dave turned to Astronaut Dave. Then he went back to Farmer Dave. Then I was like, you better get your astronaut suit back on. And I suppose these are like Chico names too. There's Unibright. This is a Chico name, isn't it? I seem to remember it is. Could be mistaken. I don't know. Jeez, look at that W. Can you see the difference here, people? I haven't even looked at YouTube here. YouTube people, can you see the difference? Can you see where you got to teach yourself to come in and buy? I mean, coming in up here, okay, but do you see the difference? Especially if you can like work these kind of orders and get filled on the pullbacks like this. Oh my goodness. That's what we're really trying to teach you. And actually, that's probably, what time is it? Oh, getting on, man. What should I talk about now? Man, that library credits. If you got some off on that double before, man. Oh, look at this. NEO. Do you guys like NEO? There's a little W, damn it. I'm a W, damn it. It's not the best looking bottom. Probably some money to be made here. Probably go down to like an hourly chart. Let's see what you got here. Actually, it was so fun yesterday. Just for kicks, because we were kind of bored yesterday morning. We pulled up like a 1 minute chart of what was that? What was that coin that we were doing yesterday? It was so fun. We're just sitting. How do you day trade RSI studies using the 1 minute chart? Wasn't that fun? Should I review that? Maybe that's what I'll do. I think I got rid of the damn chart. Oh, yeah, I lost all my goddamn notes. That was fun. Might be in this history. The killers. I'm the man. Oh, yeah. I don't know whether I want to show up my history here. Oh, porn. Look at all the porn. Yeah, I know. Thing is, I don't look at porn on here, so unfortunately. If there was porn on here, I'd be like, well, that's interesting. How did that get on there? Anyway, yeah, I had a really cool chart that I did yesterday of we were in the lounge just having fun shooting the shit yesterday. Oh boy, hey, something's not right here. I thought this was a ball. What are you guys doing? Crazy kids, get off my lawn. Remember last week we showed you what happens when the market starts smiling at you. Be careful here, folks. Sure looks like we got another happy face up here. Ooh, look at all the happy faces. Look, there's this one up here. Happy. So this is a really tight one. That's tough to take. But ironically enough, it worked. Looks like a really interesting happy face. Look at that right there. Oh boy. And then look at that one candle. Obviously there were a bunch of pros that were like, oh boy, get me the fuck out of there. All through yesterday, this was the sort of market state, and I just simply said, look, if we lose this triangle, then odds are we probably have to come back down to this trend line. And that looks like that's what's happening now, eh, folks? Actually, this makes sense. Notice we always say look left. All right, there's the high. That's an interesting low. That's an interesting low. That's an interesting low. Candle body lows for trade location. Keep an eye on, see how she acts through here. If you actually see some give back and then nice W's, probably means we're gonna do like a big head and shoulders kind of thing. Actually, you know what this looks like? This looks like one of those billiard ball fractal images. Joshua! Every time I throw up one of these crazy references, I give a shout out to Joshua to throw a billiard ball reference piece in the lounge. But that's kind of what I think is going on here right now. So, as we always say, first stop target, 38.2. Probably want to keep an eye on that. That's why when I eyeballed this, I go, oh yeah, this makes sense. Perfect. So, you know, trade location, wicks and tails. Somebody obviously stepped up and stopped the bear. Thank you, Joshua. Look at that. He's so fucking fast. That's what she said. No, you want to say slow, and powerful, and manly. So there's that kind of fractally billiard ball kind of image top that I think I see on the corn happening here. This is a pretty typical looking topping pattern. The billiard ball. That's trying to say the world is chaos, but actually you can make order out of chaos. And actually it'd be really interesting. Off of these little pivots, what do you think the odds are, guys? That like off of like these little pivots, that's 4.669, and off of these pivots, that's 4.669, and off of that pivot, that's 4.669. I bet. We could probably break down the entire math of randomness. It's not actually very random. What are you guys going on about? Sharky's talking about something with somebody in there somewhere. Oh yeah, look at that. So Will likes that Neo too. You like that Neo, eh? So, you know, maybe this is going to be like a huge rotation. I noticed this little Zen. I mean, look at that. What the fuck's going on there? And Dash, like that surprised me. That, you know, if that fires on a weekly basis, that's a railroad track. So you can see Willie's stupid. Oh, we're going to get bull divs coming in here on rising volume bars. How ironic, right? Just that the day fucking Shitterex shits on them and everybody abandons Dash. Oh, that damn thing bottoms and takes off. It's a trader's life, people. Get used to it. But there were a couple like that. What was it? ZEC yesterday? Which one was it? It was a fun little one we were doing. Was it this ZEC? No, this isn't it. Mind you, gee whiz. Volume speaks volumes. Great. Holy jeez, that even looks like a W. There is a website that if you go to, or actually, if you read the website and just do what the website address suggests you do, you actually do pretty okay in this world. Somebody had sent me a message yesterday, getting all stressed out and going, "Oh, I don't know whether this is a good idea or not." And I'm like, well, it's cute because what it means is they're still unsure of themselves, but they just don't understand. If you could force yourself, just one simple thing, all you YouTubers, I want you to put in the comments today, what is the one simple thing that Brian wants you to try and learn how to do? The one simple thing. Just force yourself to come in when your charts look like this. Not when they look like this. Do you see how Bitcoin's price chart looks like this right now? Does that make sense? Am I just talking to myself here? No? Oh, good. Felipe is that. No, there is one guy here listening to you, Brian. So he pulls up a chart like this and he's like, "Oh yeah, no, I am. It looks like I got W's. Okay, I got divergences going, and Willie's stupid." I'm like, oh. The irony of it all is you could probably just go throw a buck at this. What do you think? What do you think the odds are? I mean, keep in mind, what is this? This is $80. Like, it's just, you could eyeball this. $80, $800. Oh, that's that 10x going the other way. Whoops. And keep in mind, a lot of people in the public do that. They give 10x back, which sucks. And, all these CERB, clear, but a bit loud. Buy the fucking W.com. How do you like that? And that Gibby guy goes, "You fucking asshole." Oh, sorry. That's a good part about what I do in my life is I got enough money. I have no debt. I never, ever. Debt to me is evil. I don't want to even talk to anybody about debt. Debt, fuck you. Have a great community that I can wake up and talk to in the morning. People that, honestly, people that actually see some value in me being alive. And like every day they're like, "Thank you, Brian, for being here. I appreciate it." I can't tell you, after your wife commits suicide, that it means a lot. It means far more than money ever could. Anyway, it's just me getting stupid. But the point here is, I don't have to do this, right? I don't get paid any money from YouTube. Like, you see the amount of hits and views and shit we get, and the site does all right, whatever. Julian would love to be a gazillionaire or whatever he needs to be. But there is no money motivation for me here. If anything, what I really want to do is I just want to say the right thing to you people. I want to be that guy that after all this falls apart, you go, maybe I should have listened to that Beamish guy. Oh well, maybe next time. And how do you actually get to the point where you look at an asset like that and you go, you know what, that's investable? Not going to say it's easy. Not going to say it is easy at all. You take the alcohol? I don't want to take the alcohol. No. Actually, the interesting thing is you get to a certain point with all of this, drugs and alcohol and, all that kind of stuff. It doesn't really make that much of a difference. Ironically enough, with drugs and alcohol and stuff, people actually use that stuff to escape. But once you're at a place where the universe where it's sort of like, well, what am I escaping from? There's lots of money there. I got all these people that think I'm a pretty half decent guy. Nobody's coming after me. Nobody thinks I'm just trying to kill me. I mean, I'm not trying to escape from anything. So, and here's the thing, right? A good trade is a good trade is a good trade. A good trade really actually isn't very hard to sell. It's actually really easy to sell. But the irony of it all is that, do you think the public, they're told what a good trade is? And so, okay, everybody in the public, just watch out for this stuff. And you'll do perfectly fine in life. Nobody does that in this society, which sucks horsecocks, eh? I mean, I'm asking you for a grand to teach you that. I don't know what a grand is actually worth these days, but I think it's a fair proposition. It's 12 weeks, so that's like about $80 a week or something like that. One Doge. It probably is now, eh? Fuck. Good point. I'm going to charge you one Doge to take the school. That's funny. Thank you, Shane. You're hilarious. You could probably buy a shack in PEI for one Doge these days, eh? No, one Bitcoin. One Bitcoin buys you the shack. One Doge buys you the school. Oh, goodness. So, the whole point of my education program is I want to try and get you looking and thinking about these kind of things. This kind of chart. Not thinking about going and blowing your money on Bitcoin. I don't know whether you could do that or not. I honestly don't know. I can tell you, an idea like this could very easily, I could go risk $1. I mean, just eyeballing that, who can tell me what the 50% rule is? You know, especially you guys here in the lounge. The whole point of the school is I want to teach you to get really good and quick at technical analysis. So everybody should be able to look at that chart and go, oh yeah, 50% rule is there. I remember I did that silly video with Da Vinci a year or two ago. And we both agreed Ethereum should be at 50% rule. I mean, that was a no-brainer trade. It was easy peasy. Sure enough, here we are. So, what's a 50% rule here? Anybody on YouTube? Anybody going, gee whiz, I want to get some goddamn value out of this time spent here. Well, learn this. How do you calculate the 50% rule on the fly? Maybe somebody over on YouTube can type out this magic formula. It's actually pretty simple. And it's one of those kind of tools that the floor traders back before the days of computers, they would use this tool. All right, so if I threw $1 at this idea, does it statistically seem reasonable that dollar turns into $4? Does that seem like we're asking too much? Remember, in technical analysis and trading and stuff like that, it's really important to have objectives in mind so that when you go and risk your hard-earned money in the marketplace, at least you know where and when you're going to get paid. Hey, I'm getting paid here, right? Buy and sell, halves on doubles, whatever. 50% rule is a very good tool to use. Actually, what am I showing on YouTube? Maybe I'm not even showing the right page. I always screw up these damn videos. What am I showing? Can somebody on YouTube tell me? Are we looking at a chart of Zcash? I mean, I don't even know what the fuck a Zcash is. So I'm not going to comment on the fundamentals. All I'm going to say is just look at the chart, right? The chart says everything itself. You know, I put a tweet out the other day, and actually it's kind of cool. Somebody did mention it. I thought it was adorable when I saw it because it totally is exactly me. But I put out a tweet the other day. Here. I mean, does it really matter what the name is? Does it really matter what the price, the actual, like, dollar figure? Does it make any difference? Not really. So, just pick your idea and then just go and hunt your setups. And I am humbly here suggesting that this altcoin space, there are a lot of opportunities all over the place here. Now, going back to that image we just saw there a moment ago. I don't know what the hell I did with it. Was it on here? Man, I sure like the look of that, eh? Jesus. If I go in and, let's say Ethereum. Can you realistically make the argument, because you have a very natural price objective that should be hit, can you make the realistic argument, I'm going to go and buy at $1,200, and, let's say, that's the price of the asset, but I'm going to put $1 to work. Can you, with a straight face, not some bullshit, right? I mean, the circle jerk, FOMO people, you're never going to talk nonsense to any of those people anyway. But can you realistically say, yep, I see $4,800 for an ETH here? Because that's literally the difference between thinking about going and investing in an asset like this versus, what was the name? I can't remember the name. Was it ZEC? I think it was, wasn't it? Kraken! Release the Kraken! Oh, Jesus, look at that. Yeah, fucking A. Dancing doubles, you motherfucking son of a bitch. You're going to get rich. And going in, and your same dollar. And if that ETH goes to 4,800, what the hell is this thing gonna do? Oh my goodness, what the heck have I just done here? I mean, this isn't even rocket science. This is like idiot investing. This is like little old ladies. You want to run a book of business where you got a whole bunch of ladies that play canasta and they don't really know what the fuck they're doing, but you want to sort of, keep them in the market and they want to be in crypto. Well, you go pick up some of this, throw a buck in this. Pretty good odds that dollar turns into $4, right? Yeah. Well, that Dash, I mean, and also too, was it XRP? Isn't that one jumping back up now as well? And Jesus, this space, it drives you crazy. Look at that. I mean, that it hasn't come in. This is a weekly price chart. If that fractal fires there, fuck me. And they just pulled the big fucking hoodwink. So Trex is killing ZEC next week. So this might even be an exit pump, eh, Anonymous? That's probably what's going on. Oh, XMR and Dash. Okay, so maybe they're all exit pumps here now. Wouldn't surprise me. Obviously, if you own them on that Shitterex, buyer beware, caveat emptor, all that kind of fun stuff. Stuart's got me on Binance quite a bit lately, so we've been doing quite a bit of business over there. And like I showed you that stake trade, I had to do it on Polo. Polo? What the fuck is a Polo? Next thing you know, I'm gonna be over there trading kimchi. BCH. All right, let's see what you got on your BCH. Let's see what this. Ooh, that's a good looking chart. Not bad. I like the idea of just coming in off the bottom end of ranges here. It's not bad. That's not bad at all. You're thinking in the right direction. Also, too, who can finish this saying over on YouTube? I know all you guys know Lounge Guy. What time is it? I don't know. Is there something I should talk about? Yeah, that Uniswap, right? Anybody, if you're really a crypto fan, I think you got to get all over that Uniswap. We've got Sjord on it. We've got Shark Toshi. He's been accumulating some of the names that we can't get on the exchanges for us. So as soon as Sjord gets his act together, we'll sort of square up with Sharky. But I would strongly suggest that you all get off your crypto butts and get hip to Unify and all that. And frankly speaking, if the numbers get so big, it might simply be that you have to kiss the United States of America goodbye for a little while the United States shits on their local populace. I don't know what kind of money you're dealing with, but just be forewarned. If you're dealing with hundreds of thousands, if not millions, it might not be in your best interest to stay in the United States. Anyway, that's here another. So good looking chart. I'd probably say, if you wanted to be a buyer, can you see the W's coming in down here? I don't know who asked me to look at this. Aditya. There's one there. That looks like a pretty good level. You want to throw in some stink bids? I'm a big fan of the reload zones. Probably not a good idea to chase. Yeah, that makes sense. Probably there's some gaps down in here. I don't know what exchange you're on. This happens to be Kraken. This is a weekly chart, so I'm sure there's probably spaghetti in here. Yeah, same kind of thing. Don't chase, don't chase, don't chase. But you can clearly see where the W levels are. So anywhere down in value, you'll probably do okay picking some up down there. It's not bad. If you have a little bit sort of deeper pockets, deeper temperament, you could, I see good old Foggy's coming in here. So I don't know if we're still in higher time frame reload zones. We might be. Like off of this range, whatever the bottom was. I don't know where the bottom is prior to this move on other exchanges. You might want to check that out. If this is like a higher time frame reload zone off of kilos, then that's okay. It's really, hell, you're definitely at the bottom end of the range. So where's Chaos say this thing wants to go? Boom. There you go. 1896. That makes sense too, right? Remember we saw Ethereum do this. I was saying, well, probably going to go and take a run at those highs. And if this is some big honking fractal bottom, it looks like that, right? So it's the same scenario. It's identical. So, you could always like Joe say, and keep in mind, little old ladies and stuff, it's a percentage risk. It's not like an actual physical dollar risk. So, maybe you go and take 1 or, even 5%. I don't really mind. If you were my little old lady customer and you wanted to put 5% of your stake, the money that you gave me, to work within the market on this breakout here and just say, well, you know what? I'm going to risk this big honking W here. That's okay. I don't really have a problem with that. I think, though, the sharpshooters, you guys that are like 100x leverage, all that kind of shit kind of talk, well, you got to be sharpshooters. You got to drill in on lower time frames and be hunting, pullbacks against these lows. So, but good looking chart. That's 2 for 2. Who can give me another one that looks good? So we got that OX, BCH. Didn't we say that NEO is trying to bottom here? Again, probably not a good idea to look at it versus Bitcoin. Probably just, stay focused on versus US dollar or euro or whatever currency. In fact, for the Europeans, let's go take a look at it versus euro. All right. Is there a reoccurring theme here, people? Anyone? Does anybody see any bit of a reoccurring theme? Is there letters of the alphabet that are trying to form here that we as traders kind of like? Hey, I recognize that icon. Crypto dark pool. I know that icon. I know you. I gotta fill my coffee up. Should I stop talking? Are we done, or should we keep going here? I'm gonna fill my coffee up. If you guys are like, yeah, keep going, I will. If not, we'll wrap it up. Oh boy. Jesus H. All right. Okay, so there's a hell of a lot of cryptocurrencies that are looking like this. You know, if you want to, you can participate, but understand there's no guarantee in any of this shit. You got to build a plan. You have to force yourself to follow the plan. Don't go in and buy Bitcoin at 40 G's and then just watch 10% of it just disappear in a heartbeat, right, Yogesh? I know. You want me to look at interest rates. Why? T and X. I was just going into my soliloquy there to wind everything up. Right? Where are we here? CBOE 10-year note. Oh, man. I've been talking about this forever, right? Brian's all... No, I'm not going to say always, because that's just arrogant. You set yourself up when you talk like that. Brian's usually right. But what is Brian? Usually. Here you go. I'm setting myself up now. Let's see if everybody knows. Brian's usually right, but he's also usually... Yeah, there you go. And what a surprise. The first smart-ass answer comes from where? How perfect. That was, yeah. Are we sure? Friend in quotation marks, right? Yeah. Brian's usually chicken. Yeah, well, not yet. He is chicken. That's just a fact, Will. But that's good. At least you guys know it. Usually I'm early. Usually I'm right, but usually I'm early. And I can live with that. Just the point is I don't want to be wrong and late. That's terrible. So, I've been humming and hawing about interest rates. I think interest rates are at a long-term pivot. Ironically enough, that chart right there, now it has a confirmed W working, doesn't it? It's uglier than sin, eh? So, be careful. Yeah, I mean, you remember, I remember 3 years ago, I was wandering around construction sites in Vancouver going, this is idiocy. It's just stupid. And yet you look out my fucking window and they're still building. It's like, what the hell? Who's buying this shit? It makes no sense whatsoever. And I know that this is going to end badly, but that's what you get when you get governments involved in the construction industry. Oh, those are good economic choices. Anyway, so I'm very, very concerned for like this is a weekly chart. Maybe go like a monthly chart. That's the image that bothers me, and this goes back to 1964. So this is sort of along the lines of those asymmetrical risk kind of conversation. George, not so much George. Who's asymmetrical risk? Yogesh, can you please go back to your Bitcoin chart? And how about Yogesh? Why don't you join the site and we can talk Bitcoin 24/7. In fact, actually, I think we have a 30-day trial. You can come out, man. We do like hour to 2 hour long videos every single day. I mean, dude, our community gets lots of Bitcoin, so feel free to join. Anyway, I was gonna wind this video up here. I've been blabbing away for a couple hours. Thank you, Min. Thank you, Gug. And I just wanted to finish up. Somebody is asking me to look at interest rates here. So this is the problem that I have, right? This is like 40 years, people. That's a hell of a long time. That everybody is just convinced, and they're all used, that interest rates are going one direction and one direction only. The only problem is, do you see what number we're hitting here? The Europeans, I think to a certain degree, because they are not the hegemony currency, and also really the Japanese to that effect as well, they have flirted with this negative interest rate idea, and it wouldn't surprise me if there are other countries around the world that do it as well. But I don't think the United States of America, being the hegemony proxy, I don't think they can do that. You can't keep that. Remember when we started the conversation, how is the money system built? It's built on the debt, the bonds, and that is built on a positive spread situation. So that means that at the end of the day, the Fed has to have at least some sort of positive spread between whatever they're printing the money at and whatever the market is paying. Or else the whole damn thing doesn't work. It falls apart in one great big horrendous blah. So I find it very difficult to believe that the United States of America, being the hegemony system, will ever let that happen. They will just continue printing more money. It's far easier to just keep printing more money, more balance sheet, bring all these bonds back onto the books, blah, 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 and just keep the damn fugazi going than it would be to actually tinker with actually breaking this bond market money system that we have in place. So with that said, I'm a little concerned when I look at an image like that of course we're at 40-year cycle demographic cycles. And if you actually go look at the history of interest rates, they actually move in about an 80-year cycle. The only problem is a lot of these sites and stuff that we use to try and get this data, they don't give us the data back here, so how the fuck are we supposed to know? So in our course material and stuff like that, I've gone and pulled sources and charts from various different places to show you that very natural cycle interest rates go through. Problem is, we're at the end of that cycle, not the beginning. You should not be going here right now, hey, I'm expecting 20, 30 years of lower interest rates ahead of me. You're crazy if you think that way. And what I'm worried about, modern monetary theory and all that kind of stuff, is that people in the public are thinking that. And that's a trap. And that is, I think, what sets up this whole asymmetrical risk opportunity, because even Powell himself said, when questioned about equity valuations, he said, well, given where long-term interest rates are right now, I can live with equity valuations where they are. Actually, when I look at a chart like this, I actually think that the market was getting ready to bottom here. You can see it was all ready to go. And in typical crypto fashion, they had one more fuck you before they were ready to go. So, what are you saying over there? Donius Freeman says, are there two different Ethereum Classic? Robinhood says 852. Webull says 1323. I don't know. That's a good question. Are you looking at the ETH ETF? Or ETC ETF? Like the grayscale thing? I don't know. It would really, I mean, Robinhood. Does Robinhood trade cryptocurrencies or do they trade the ETFs? And they're not even really ETFs. They're like crooked ETFs. But that's another conversation for another day. So, just to finish off this thought. Are interest rates trending higher over the long term right now? No. So that's important. It's important that we acknowledge this is not trending higher. And if it was trending higher, I absolutely guarantee you the stock market would not be where it is now, and the public would not be acting the way that they are with this whole modern monetary theory nonsense. I do think, though, that this is a long-term cyclical pivot. And my hunch, for whatever it's worth, is we're probably going to do like a head and shoulders here. Where, you can see clearly technical level, these old highs, technical levels, right? And then, shoulder, head, a couple shoulders, shoulder. That seems very logical to me. The problem here, of course, is everybody is quite comfortable with 0%. And that's not sustainable down there. And you can even see, this is a monthly chart, you can even see down, up, down, see you later. So the W's are already starting to come in. The interesting thing about this, though, is you notice that this is a new closing low here on a monthly basis. So that does tell me that maybe we have to come down and print another closing bar higher here. Then if this kind of situation develops, and I doubt it goes that deep, it probably just does something like that. But we really would like to see a closing low higher than that closing low on a monthly basis to actually say that this is the bottom. So this is going to be pretty wild over the next year or two. And of course, COVID, tons of government debt coming out. There's probably going to be massive foreclosures in the housing industry. A country like Canada, this is stupidity what I see going on here. Half of these construction projects are probably going to end up in receivership. Or the Fugazi keeps going. And I don't know whether I believe that the Fugazi keeps going. I think the asymmetrical risk right now is people think that this was a normal move, but I think this was an outlier, right? The COVID. Like, why did Bitcoin go down and almost crap out there? It wasn't supposed to. Same thing here. I think this was unexpected. It was COVID was, what do they call it? Black swan, that kind of thing. So that's my thoughts on the interest rate market. Very hard for me to be a bull here on bond prices with interest rates as low as they are. Very difficult. Does that mean we're going to be screaming higher here? No. I mean, the ceiling is probably like 3%. So, I mean, it's not like we're heading into double-digit inflation or any of that. I just think that the market's been caught a little bit here. I don't think that this move was real. And I wouldn't be surprised if, the socialists are coming. I would expect we're going to have lots and lots and lots and lots of talk of stimulus. It is interesting to see how the gold market's starting to break apart. I find that fascinating. Theoretically, that shouldn't happen if the US dollar and the bond market is crapping out. So US dollar, I think, actually looks very strong here. Woo, look at that. Isn't that funny? I was talking to somebody about that 38.2. Look at that move. Doink, doink. And now we're sitting right at that 38.2. So, great example of go after those tails. It looks like, and it's interesting. Remember, we have this here. That was the last pivot, I think, in price. So it turns out they went after these tails. Be interesting, too, to see where Bitcoin went out on Friday afternoon to see where they need to have it for tomorrow morning. But anyway, so here we are back at 38.2s. That was quick. That was fun, eh? And this won't be a buy. now, in my opinion, until we actually start to W out on the other side of this trend line. So we got to do a lot of cleaning up here, and this won't be a buy until we actually see a W on the other side of this line up here somewhere. If this actually ever does turn into a buy again, we'll see. I thought it was interesting. I showed you guys earlier that gold chart, and now I'm still talking. I should really shut up because I got to get going for Liam here. But that gold chart, you notice, did anybody notice the date that this topped out? January 21st, 1980. They always say the more things change, the more they stay exactly the same. The more times change, the more they stay exactly the same. So, interestingly enough, we just had that dump on Bitcoin against its 38.2s. I mean, obviously, this is a much higher time frame analysis, but actually it isn't. That's a daily chart, isn't it? I wonder where's our daily Bitcoin? Was that a daily? I think that was just like a 30-minute I was looking at, though. Yeah. I don't know what daily. Let's see where daily would say. If this, oh boy, there's a mess. Oh yeah, buy right there. Come to TRI and learn how to do this. What? Wow, look at that dump. Oh my goodness. I guess I didn't get my Bitcoin puts filled, fuckers. Here we go. There's a nice chart. Okay, so if this is similar to that gold, then what we should see is a pullback to 29 and change. You can see we actually had a cute little sell signal there. But you should see a pullback to 29 and change. Then probably be a rally back up against this. And then if this really is a bear, then we get a big nasty M right up in reload short zones. But that's a long way away. We might just do this, turn around, and go screaming right back up. And if I remember correctly, I think Julian even said on Thursday on his show that he was waiting for this moving average pullback tag to be a buyer. So it'd be really interesting to see whether Julian actually stepped up and pulled the trigger on the buy side there. That's probably the right trade. While we're in a trending market, pullbacks, buy the fucking dip, right? That kind of nonsense. That's probably a pullback buy window. And sure enough, look at that jump, eh? Son of a gun. All right, so what do you think? Whoever asked that, did you get my spiel on interest rates? Does that make sense? Did I answer your questions? Yes, no, maybe so. All right, I'm going to assume that I did an awesome job. You're the best, Brian. You rule, you rock, you are awesome. Well, thanks, man. Appreciate it. We'll finish off with just a quick mention. It is the beginning of the new year. And at the beginning of the new year, it means we have a new school term that's going to start. So if we can help you out, and the point here is, like, looking at this image, you can't come in and realistically think to kick some fucking ass in the market buying here. You're asking for trouble. How do you set yourself up so that when these assets start basing out, we showed you the cryptocurrency, there are a couple of them that are doing this as we're speaking, that you can force yourself to come in and take appropriate risks that you can sleep at night and go, yep, I'm pretty well positioned. That's the whole point of this education program. That's the whole point of why JoJo came to me in that dream shortly after she died. And she said, Brian, you have the opportunity to make a positive difference in this world. That's the positive difference. Trying to help you set yourself up so that you're not going, I don't know what the hell happens next. Should I buy this thing? I don't know. I remember, I don't want robots. I think I've told you, all of you, geez, there's 1,500 people that watched this damn video last week. I don't want robots. Robots are useless. Hey, you want to be a robot? Go fucking be a Musk robot. He's got, problem is, you're a biological robot. He doesn't even want you. So why would you come to TRI? Believe it or not, your out is education. But it's a weird education. It has less to do with squiggly lines and more to do with human nature and psychology and behavioral management. You know, after I do these videos, I go spend the afternoon with my special needs son. Every single day I'm with Liam, I always ask myself, before I walk in that door, am I setting myself and am I setting Liam up for success? Because that's the key to this. Right across our society sets you up for failure. Everywhere. It's a weird thing. I think it's part of sort of that banker class, because they want your money, they want your wealth, they want your assets, they want you to live a life of slavery. And they say, hey, you know what, you're not forced into this life. But at the same time, too, they're going to go, hey, buy some Bitcoins here at 30, 40 grand. You got to do it. Right? It's the right thing to do. Oh, Jesus. So how do you, when it comes to things like investing your hard-earned money in the marketplace, how do you set yourself up for success so that the day you come to the market, you're like, all right, Mr. Market, what you got for me here? Yeah, like it, don't like it, don't like it. The irony of investing, everybody, and you got to learn this day one, 90, if not 95, maybe even 99% of ideas that people pitch at me, don't like it. Too high debt, terrible cash, too many coins out, promoter's a scammer. I mean, remember, terrible trade location, horrible momentum, bad volume. I mean, I bang out so many of these damn doubles. I'm sure a lot of people watching this go, man, this is so easy. It's like shooting fish in a barrel. Well, no, it isn't. It's actually extremely hard work. And it takes a lot of practice, a lot of patience, and a lot of discipline. So, you know, my honest proposition to you, the value, what Jojo wanted me to do. So I'm not going to bullshit you. I'm going to teach you how hard this is. But at the same time, too, once you get onto the other side of that equation, I guarantee you, you will never look at the universe the same way. You can't. It's impossible. I've corrupted you. Yay! And you will be setting yourself up for success down the road. A lot of people that came to me in 2017, they're now seeing the success. Why? Because they had to learn patience and discipline to wait for location. Bitcoin came down, presented a fantastic location. They loaded up, and now, of course, they're doing awesome. But that's what you have to do. Sucks. So what's really cool is we've got this education program with 3 gentlemen in the level 1 program that I would swear by. I think all 3 of them are fantastic human beings, and they will set you up for success. I love that about them. I think the price point, especially in this Fugazi world, I don't even know what $1,000 is worth anymore, but I think it's a fair price point. David, of course, in the promotional write-up, he will suggest that it's worth many multiples of that, which is adorable. Love you for it, David. I mean, I don't know whether I would go like this, but I'll tell you, if you can learn this Feigenbaum concept while you're here at TRI, I mean, you can't put a price on this stuff. I mean, it's insane. So, I was going to show you, but hell with it. You know, Feigenbaum, right? That's this kind of stuff. How do you put a price on that? You can't. You just can't. How do you put a price on learning and looking at a chart right here and going, there's no fucking way I can buy that? How do you put a price on that? I don't know. Yeah, Colleen here in the lounge just said she's already made her investment back a couple times? Sure hope so. With those damn warrants? Fuck. You should be driving granny Lambos, ma'am. What's a granny Lambo look like? That's a question. Okay, so, finish the sales pitch here. We're here to help. If you can, we've got about a day left here until the program kicks in. Once the program starts, I really don't like new people joining. So it means that if you miss this go round, you're going to have to wait till the spring if you want to participate. If not, price point I think is extremely attractive. I think you get excellent value for your money spent. And as countless people have said through our testimonies, and Colleen did. Colleen, have you written up one of these yet? You should be in here. But anyway, many people believe that the investment in themselves pays off very, very quickly. Okay, cool. Well, if you're in there, you're in there. So feel free to check out a little, some of the write-up of our students, and then, maybe watch a little bit of video about how people actually really talk. You can really judge the value in people's words based on their body language when they talk. That's the one thing I really like about these videos, because you can see it's not bullshit. There's no fucking sales slick nonsense. These people, we were just sitting at breakfast just talking. What does TRI mean to you? And I love that. These are pure people. They're all very pure, real people. So, all right. Love to have you on board. We have the 30-day trial. We still have our contest winner out there. So hopefully they can get their act together and be a part of this Q1 term. Kevin, Joshua, Graham, couldn't think of a better team. Level 2, taking it to the next level with Kiran. Kiran is actually going to get a fucking, he wants to get a co-op prop firm up and running inside TRI. And I'm like, okay, go for it. That's how serious Kiran is here. Yeah, I mean, he's fucking serious as shit. So, and he's our level 2 instructor, WD up the butt, all day traders who want to learn how to day trade. Couldn't have a better day trader than Kiran and Murad in there. And then, of course, the special treat at the end of the program is I work personally with the level 3ers, teaching you derivatives, these crazy warrant things we trade, options, and advanced trading techniques like harmonics and stuff. So, all right, I think that's it for today. You got about a day and a half. If you want to get in the program, get off your butt, get going. Congratulations to Hot Nicks. Thank you so much, team, for all of your assistance. Have yourselves a great day. Get out there, enjoy the market. I think there's a little window of opportunity here in these sort of mid-tier altcoins. Be very careful in this space. I mean, we all know Trex delisting nonsense. So none of this stuff is guaranteed. This is a highly speculative part of the market, but you all know that, what you're getting involved in. Have some fun in the market. This should be a fun and enjoyable window. Once we get beyond that Ethereum CME event, I think we're going to have to reassess. But for now, I think we're doing good. Okay, everybody, have yourselves an awesome rest of your day. PMA for the win. Thank you for all the best wishes with Liam. Of course, I need all the help I can. And actually, I got to get off my butt and go set myself up for success now so that I can give him an awesome afternoon. All right, everybody. All the best, and bye for now.